Hello friends, today we are going to see Sonnet number 65 by William Shakespeare. I believe you have subscribed the channel. Let's go to the summary. The first quatrain is talks about the powerful nature of the time, even the things like the brass and the stones that can't resist over the time. As you can see in the English poets, majority of them they are considering the nature as a supreme power that can't be destroyed by anyone. But here, William Shakespeare in Sonnet 65 talks about the time that has more power than nature, and the nature itself is a subject that to decay and change. And he's comparing with these things with the human beings to tell that human beauty is implied to be the far weaker than these things enduring substance. So these stanzas concludes that the nature itself is decaying. Where the human go, the beauty of the human. So next, the second quatrain, which talks about the human beauty, is actually directly arguing the audience, the reader, that he questions to the contemporary readers that they how can the beauty can survive when the time destroying all the things that including the nature. So beauty is described as delicate and easy, defeated by the time is portrayed as a violent attacker overpowering the beauty. So, as you can see, that Shakespeare is here personifying the time and giving the time as whole power, like a villainic power. And you can see the tone as very anxious and pessimistic. In the third quadrant, the tone was shifts gradually, and it talks about the time is compared to this seagull or a battling force that wears everything down, and even the solid structures and the strong defense fall before the time. And the third quadrant is actually describing the powers of the time, and the time is inevitably of decaying the strongly things that emphasized. So the poet feels very despair over this time's unstoppable nature, and you just have to give some solution or you want to against the time as a warrior. So as you can see, you have noticed the first three quatrains is all about talking about the problems of the time, what are the characteristics of the time, the power of the time. So the as you all know, the final couplet, the heroic couplet, which gives the solution for this nature of the time. So, a poet, Shakespeare talks about the sudden shift from the despair to the hope of this occurs in the last couple, though nothing physical can resist the time. The poetry can preserve the beauty. So, as you can see, that a warrior against the time is portrayed as the poem, the poetry, which can preserve the beauty which is destroyed by the time, the beauty which is delicate and easily destroyed, which can be preserved by the time, by the portrait. The poetry is believed as his words will live over time. So art is presented as the means of achieving the immortality. Here the Shakespeare is actually exaggerating and actually giving overpowering to the art, the poetry, which is having more power than time, which can't destroy the beauty that inside the poetry. So in the conclusion, he gives that the artistic power, the power of art that preserves the beauty over the time, which actually exaggerated that the poetry has the power of immortality. So this is the summary of the poem. Let's go to the analysis of the poem, which fetch you more marks and understand the poetry well. So let's start with the tone of the poem. As you can see, the poem was started with a meditative tone that deeply talks about the time and the decay of the nature. and the anxious and pessimistic tone of the poet that time has the power to destroy the even the strong things that has portrayed in the all over time. And the last couplets, the heroic couplets, which gives hope and affirmation that don't worry buddy, you have poetry to preserve the beauty. So these are the things that have shifted the tone from the first quatrain to the last couplets.